Hey Lifers, welcome to the Deep Life Podcast. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I'm the only employee left. Scott and Eric have been suspended from their duties. Going forward, the show may look a little different. So you're stuck with me. I think we're going to have a grand time.
Hey, what are you doing in the studio?
Yeah, well, how did she get on there?
What?
What? You think we got ran over by the Hammermans last week,
and then ran over by a reindeer. That's what I got ran over by.
and then Lexi takes over the show and fires us all.
Probably deserved it.
Definitely deserved it.
Those sandwiches weren't up to par. Weren't up to that sandwich artist
sandwich engineer.
So here's the thing about the Ammermans. I love the Ammermans. Let's talk about them for a minute. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
So the Ammermans, both really good people. They do well. Hold on. Let me finish. All right. They do a lot to help people. They've helped me tremendously. They've helped, both of them have helped us. They're great people. Hold on.
Helped you by house?
Hold on.
Spending your money?
No. I mean, I've seek guidance from the Ammermans. Great guys to talk to. Great family men. I love the fact that one of my favorite things about the Ammermans are how close they are. They're close brother and sister.
Yeah.
That really surfaced.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say brother and sister? I meant brother and brother.
You mean sister and sis.
So that really surfaced in that episode. I mean, the way they were playing off each other and everything, that was incredible. Like they were sharing each other's thoughts. I'm pretty sure that Scott and Eric bathed together till they were like 25.
I'm not sure they have stopped, to be honest. Once a week they drive over to each other's house and take turns.
No, honestly, that was that episode. They had me dying laughing. That was I had tears in my eyes. Amy was she was like just crying with laughing. It was good. It was the notes were the best. I'm gonna print that out and hang that in my bulletin board.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
The only image I have is literally like a postage stamp size, and when I tried to blow it up, it looked very
blurry.
much.
It was awesome.
But it was absolutely perfect, and I joke around, but man, they saved our bacon.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that they were able to step in. It was a great episode. I did, in all honesty, the banner back and forth you could only get from two brothers.
They definitely fed off each other pretty well.
Really did. That was cool. Oh, absolutely. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, Scott. We have Scott on with us tonight, and
I think he's still there.
we didn't run him off.
Oh no, I'm still here.
Yeah, he's just still trying to figure out which one of is the sister.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like we got a nice little crowd growing. I love it. Yeah, Jason, I'm very much right there with you. The pink helmet thing got me. So I had decided that, I asked, Eric, I was like, am I going to need to edit this thing or change because it was, I think, right at an hour and 5 minutes, and we try to have our shows at an hour long. And then it kind of came to me, let's just see. And so I listened to it before I posted it, obviously, and I was like, it was starting to get a little long in the beginning. The intro is starting just a little long,
and then they
and then the pink helmet.
Just hit me with it.
And I was literally in the floor laughing.
I'll be honest with you. It was one of those intros I was like, I hope this never ends. Like, I mean, it was like a good comedy show. I was like, this is great.
I kept looking out my window to see if the FBI was out there.
And it just kept getting better and better, It was like, man, when are they going to, pinnacle? This can't get any funnier. And when you think it can, it just does.
Yeah. Yeah. the offshore Cayman Islands. And,
Oh my God! Yeah.
There's a lot of accounts.
yeah,
The nepotism with Lexi. I thought that was great.
Which is why I invited her to come in and kind of kick off the show.
Oh, absolutely, it's great.
Yeah, she had fun with that.
Yeah, it was a good time. We're I can honestly say this: we're lucky to have the Ammermans in our corner.
Oh, definitely. Well, you
I
don't want them
appreciate
in the other corner.
No, you really
No.
don't. No. So
Yeah.
I appreciate what they do for us, and I just had to poke a little bit of fun back.
Yeah, it was well done.
I
Some of
hope
those
that's okay.
best corn dogs out on the trail.
Yeah.
Dude,
Corn dogs, pizzas,
you go out with Scott. You're
gourmet meals out on the trail, man.
Yeah.
except well, last time Scott and I went out, he had the oven,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just sitting in his back seat, not doing anything.
Well, what the hell?
I know, that's what I said. What the hell?
When I go wheeling, I don't.
That's
wanna,
the only reason I
I don't
went.
want to have to eat the Wawa or Subway or
I
whatever
know.
sandwich that I got.
I want to save it.
I want a White Castle slider, man.
I want to save it for later when I
Yeah.
can throw it in the trash and
Yeah.
go, oh yeah, that was money well spent.
Yeah, as always.
Right.
That's what the buggy needs is an oven.
Just bake it on the manifolds. I think JCR makes a
Manifold heater.
yeah, not kidding you, for like pizza or something.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I don't need things that close to the engine, especially his engine that's spraying stuff. We don't know what's coming off of that engine right now.
Well,
It's a little
getting-
greasier than usual.
no, that's the coolant.
So that's not good for
It's
you.
a lubricant.
It's
It's-
not
it's
good
kinda-
for you.
Kind of gets sweet taste.
Makes it go down a little
Yeah.
easier.
Yep.
I like it.
Spoonful of sugar.
That was a nice sound we had there. Who was that?
Taquitos. Did I have taquitos out on the trail? No, we had White Castle sliders.
No,
Yeah, I
Terry
think
had
he's talking to
taquitos.
me. He's talking to me.
Oh.
How quickly I forget.
Wow.
I'm
You know.
hungry, dude. I just
I know.
ate. Thanks, man.
I'm hungry.
I'm really
too.
trying to watch what I 43 has not been a good year for me.
It's wait till you get on up there, buddy.
I know. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm
Things that used to work no longer work.
I don't envy you, my
What are you
friend.
talking about there, Terry?
Yeah.
His ears.
Yeah.
And Billy's gone.
He decided
He's
leaving us.
down on the floor assembling something.
Sandwiches.
Yep.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Do you think we could
Yeah, let's do it.
you want to go ahead and kick it off?
I had to take the piece of gum out of my mouth.
No.
And he knocked the table over.
Yeah.
Table's getting just gonna wreck the set. Let's go. Let's do this.
It is kind of funny. It is a set now. You know, we've got
Somewhat.
So here's the
Kinda.
deal. One night you're going to come in. Billy's going to have been down here before you, and his table's going to have like a 6-inch lift on it.
No, he's gonna
Yeah.
come down. There's gonna be plywood all across the back, and
yeah.
all of our signs hung up and everything.
I like it.
What do you think? Yeah,
I'm digging it.
you like that?
Ricardo, Neil, all my peeps.
Everybody send that. Share out that link real quick.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and spend let's
30
take
seconds.
2 minutes and
No, 30
share
seconds.
it out. 30
Takes
seconds.
30 seconds to share it out. Everybody share it once. You're good to go.
Yeah, share it out. I would love to because I want to talk about the mid South Jeeps
but-
tonight, and if anybody knows any of those peeps, or wants to share it out in their group, that'd be awesome. They're out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Since we're going to talk a little bit about them, I'd love for them to.
Maybe we can share it to their page real quick. Or are you part of their club?
I am, but I've vowed to them that I wasn't going to spam them.
I mean, I don't know if we're spamming them if we're going to talk about them.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know. I want to be respectful of
All right. So if anybody out there is in
the Mid-South Jeeps
Mid-South Jeeps,
out of Memphis.
please share it out there.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about you guys tonight.
Yep.
The great work that you guys do.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. and we'll give it another minute for people to share out and get a few more people. We'll see if we can get that number to rise up a little bit. I know we'll get plenty of views off of this one, but
I need a haircut.
it's about time.
I was looking in the video, and I'm like,
Oh,
I need
yeah.
a haircut.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. You did your part. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
I think Scott's got that heavy typer's fingers.
He's got something
He's
going on.
got
over
them
there.
going on. I'm not sure.
I'm just making noise.
Yeah, I can tell.
That keyboard's not hooked up to anything.
He's just
No, it's not.
He's screwing with you now.
It's like
Right.
it's like Don's notes, the digital version of Don's notes.
Yeah.
Just nonsense. I'm actually answering questions about ball joints in the Jeep group. Am I not supposed to be doing that while I'm?
no, you're allowed to. Do
Now
it.
we all multitask. That's why we're off track all the time.
Scott, you ever rebuild a Kingpin?
Like a Ford Kingpin? Yeah.
Like, yeah, that
One's not like a ball joint front end, like a Kingpin front end.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't
Yeah.
get your start. You got your start in a heavy truck, right?
We did them on Ford trucks, and I think we had an International that had Kingpins and an old Chevy C60. But my early start stuff was Volkswagen, and they were the original swing axle. Old Volkswagens had Kingpins in the front end, I believe.
Okay.
Wow.
I might have to rebuild one.
Nice.
It shouldn't be terrible.
Okay.
What front end do you have on that thing?
It's a Pro Rock 60 with
Huh.
Kingpins.
That could probably help.
Okay.
I haven't done them in. I mean, we had to like heat them up and get them out of the front axle and stuff, and they were a real pain in the ass, but they worked.
Well, I'll look at it and see. I'll let you know.
Cool.
All right, let's get this thing rolling. I think everybody's waited long enough. The suspense is killing me. What's the show going to be like tonight? I don't know, folks. Let's find out.
Nobody's getting fired with it.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast. Man, it's good to be back in the studio. We had a scary, I don't know, audits are scary.
Well, but our lawyers,
Our lawyers.
us three have lawyers, like a whole. We've hired a whole
A whole team.
corporation. Yeah.
I represented myself, guys.
That's what we let you think that, but it was really
Yeah.
the
It was-
lawyers
it
that
was-
right.
Yeah.
Listen, it was adorable. Let's be
Okay.
honest.
I plead the fifth, though.
Yeah, man, it was. I don't even know what to say. I'm good to be back in the studio. It's
we were able to prove that all those notes that they actually did mean something.
they do mean something.
Yeah.
There is.
Now it was how to make dough while on the trail, and had
Right,
nothing to do with
right.
RTIs. But it did, you know.
Yeah.
3.14159.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta
pie.
get
It
a
was
little
just a
pie.
different pie.
Yeah, gotta get that
Yeah.
pie in there.
Trail pies.
Wrong
Yeah.
class, right? Yeah.
Well, I'm Terry in the middle seat, and in our studio, Bill, how you doing?
Lots of Jeep work going on, man.
Yeah,
Fixing all kinds
lots,
of stuff.
Lots.
Water
right?
pump. I had some other issues with lower control arm mount, cracking, and doing some of that kind of jazz. So I actually found out that it wasn't my water pump. It's the idler pulley went bad on the front of the motor, causing the belt to kind of shift a little bit, coming in contact with the thermostat housing,
Okay.
which is plastic. So Jeep, maybe you should fix that or redesign and stop using plastic
Yeah, I
next to
think that.
moving
Is this on the-
components.
Is this on the buggy motor?
No, it's on the big red Jeep.
Yeah,
So,
we
yeah.
had to put wheels back on the buggy,
we had to put wheels back on the buggy to move it out so I can
push it
pull
out of the garage.
the red Jeep into the garage and work on that. So yeah, it's lots of fun going on.
Good times. Good times.
Had by all, let me tell you.
I'm glad you're here and you're somewhat clean. I'm rather
I
impressed.
scrubbed the hands before I came over.
That's really all that matters. Don't touch anything.
Yeah.
I love it. And to my right, hey Don, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, man?
Man, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
No.
I mean, we've texted a lot. But
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've been.
I like your
work is
hat.
this is cool, isn't it? Cade's Cove. Shout out
yeah,
to my friend who got me this.
in Tennessee.
And, yep. And I've got the Tennessee Jeep Invasion, the Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion shirt on, and they are calling us out. So
Yeah. I guess we have to go.
we do.
What are those dates?
What are those?
They're-
it's August sometime. It's like
Uh-oh.
it's like the third weekend in August. I don't know the dates.
Possibility.
Yep.
I might be available.
I
It's
think
only,
it'll-
what is it?
it'll
An
happen.
8-hour, 10-hour drive out?
Nah, it depends on where you're going. I think it's more like a 10 or 11 hour to where we would go
Okay.
for that.
All
So
right.
we can make it happen. But, good to see you here.
Yeah.
All in one piece.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. We joked about this a little bit on air that I'm the only one of us that has a functional drivable Jeep right now.
Yeah.
Whatever. I
I
got
don't
a
want- I
Civic,
don't want
dude.
to-
My Civic kills it.
Yeah.
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 My Jeep's been apart way too long. I have to like cut the vines free from the lift to get it off of there.
Yeah. It's I'm ready to
Oh,
to see
And I
it
stole
done.
parts off it, so I need to
Yeah,
get those
that's
parts.
right. I forgot.
What'd
You did.
What?
Some hardware. You borrowed
What?
off my. Well, it's been there for so long. I mean, why not?
Why
It's
not?
become a parts vehicle
Okay.
now.
And that voice that you hear is our good friend Scott Ammerman back with us, and I just brought him on screen. I don't think he realizes it yet.
Listen, I see you. The board of directors insisted that I be here to watch over things.
Let's.
That nothing bad happens.
Who does the board of directors consist of?
I
I mean,
think
we
it's
got
just
like
Lexi.
Elmo.
Cookie.
I think it's Lexi and her friends.
Yeah, Lexi. There you go.
I think that's it. But Scott, it's good to have you here, man. I feel like I've seen you more than I've seen the other dudes. In the
I've
room.
seen
No,
Don
you were-
more than
you
I've
were
seen
over-
you,
Yeah.
and
You
more
were
than
here
you've seen
yesterday.
Don.
That's right. I did go over to your house.
We rolled the buggy out of the physically rolled it.
I
out
tried to
of the garage.
blank it out of my mind. There was a lot of I
Yeah.
felt like we were doing a scene out of Goldfinger or whatever. No, what was the Mike Myers?
Probably if I put some more air in the tires, it would have rolled a little easier.
Yeah, they were fully aired down, ready to go.
6 psi.
I think they were like 5 or 8.
Oh, our friend Troy updated us August 26th to the 28th.
So it's the last weekend in
Yeah,
August.
so a little later. I
Cool.
like it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Weekend before Labor Day.
we'll be there.
Yeah, let's try and make it happen.
Let's do it. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So
But don't we have another trip? Like, aren't we? And I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet. But this summer we have.
We're
like,
working on something.
we're working
on
several,
something.
several trips. So maybe one in the beginning of the summer, and then this one more toward the end.
Yeah.
I like it. So it's gonna
Where should we go?
be. Yeah, where should we?
I mean, I want to get you guys down to West Virginia, if we can.
Oh yeah,
Maybe loop that into a possible trip.
yeah.
I think we just start wheeling in the beginning of summer and not stop until the end.
I kind of have to go to work eventually.
Yeah.
What, Subway won't give you the week off?
Maybe I should just quit from Subway.
Nah, dude, you need that job.
I do.
You gotta have that job.
Yeah.
Where else am I going to get my discounted sandwiches from?
Good point. All those discounted sandwiches.
It's been a crazy 2 weeks, and thanks for the Airmans for
What size do
Bailing
those
us out.
discounted sandwiches come in,
they
please?
come in the 6 inches.
$5,
That's all I have is 6 inches,
$5.
foot long. Oh, but they're
Yeah.
not $5 anymore. They're like
They're
$9.
They're like $5.83 or something
right,
like that.
right.
Hey, I mean, there was a lot of litigation involved in getting rid of Jared, so they have to.
that's true.
Some of that.
They
Pay
had
the
to pay for
lawyers.
that. Speaking of paying for lawyers,
What do you think Jared's doing right now?
Back on topic, guys. Back on topic. Let's go.
Yeah, reel it in. We don't want to talk about that.
we did
Paid. Patreon.
Patreon. we've got some amazing people, and I'm going to go ahead and call them out. Matt, Mike, and Eric.
Heck yeah, man.
Have donated to Patreon and set that up this week.
Let's try to get to 6 Patreon users next week, or Patreons.
The next 2 Patreons will get some Jeep Life podcast
on top
decals
on
top of whatever they sign up for.
Absolutely.
So if you're
hold on a second here. At some point, guys, we're losing money.
Yeah,
we're back to losing money again.
Yep.
We might as well stay in there.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta.
So we're the only welcome to the podcast where we like to give everything away.
We're not giving away the stuff on the table this week.
I'm surprised.
This week.
Week, yeah.
Wait, that's a little further down in the notes there.
Crap! I gotta return that. Actually, I forgot to bring it with me.
So I appreciate and I know we appreciate everybody's Patreon support, and I know it's new coming out, and I don't want to beg for money.
I'm gonna beg. Hell, go subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, podcasting ain't free.
Terry's not begging, but I'm gonna beg for
You're
Terry.
All right. I love
So
it.
in all honesty, right now a majority of this is coming out of Terry's pocket.
Yes.
So he pays all the subscriptions and stuff, and then we try to help out with his Jeep parts or
installing
equipment.
his parts.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah. So, but
all-
nonetheless, at some
Everybody
point,
help Terry.
yeah, everybody help Terry. Donate to the podcast. We need to get some money back in Terry's pocket here. So he does this because he loves to do it, but at the same time, he also loves to spend money on his Jeep, and it's really not fair for.
Yeah, I'm dying for something new on the Jeep.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's about time.
Or put something new on Terry's Jeep.
We do have
It's one or the other. I think the
Right.
Patreon subscription is probably going to be cheaper.
Yeah, you either do that,
right.
or you drive to
Right.
my house and let's put something on.
Right, there we go. I
There
like
you go.
it. I like it. So we do have some content starting to show up on the Patreon page.
Yeah.
We're going to get a lot more out
We're
there.
going to start rolling into more. Some of this stuff was just, teasers to kind of get into some of the other stuff we're going to be doing, but we're talking about it tonight. Whole lot of, we're going to do a whole lot of how-to stuff. So,
Yeah.
And planning events, possibly.
Private
Yes.
private
events,
Patreon
private
events.
Patreon.
and there may be a new.
Ooh, VIP.
Not Jeep Life Podcast privates. Just private events.
Holy shit.
Scott.
So back to there may be a new tier. That's gonna there's gonna be a new tier coming on Jeep Life Podcast Patreon in the next week or two. And that is gonna include some real personal content. I just choked on my own words. Moving on.
We're getting choked
moving
up
along.
over
Moving
here.
along. I want to talk about a few events, and I know we just talked about August 26th, the 28th, and I think it's the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. Put that on your calendars because I think the Jeep Life podcast will.
We're going to be there.
Be there.
What's going on with Wildwood? Have we committed to that?
We have committed to that.
Crap. I
don't
talk
think
to you guys
they
about
have
that.
committed to that.
Gotcha.
Still
not sure.
Still
not
not sure
100%
with
sure.
the state of New Jersey and all that stuff. So
Gotcha.
That is the 9th to the...
No, they moved it back. It's in July. I think the
Right,
first week
July
of July.
9th
Yeah.
to
Yep.
yeah, we'll put
11th?
those.
Yeah, that sounds right. We'll
9th
just
to
go
the
with that.
11th, I think. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday
When we get closer, we'll
on
put
the
it.
beach. Awesomeness.
Yeah.
Lots
It
of
is.
fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and, the three of us in New Jersey. There's what
Who knows
nothing
what's
good
gonna
can come
happen
out of
there.
that.
Remember, you have to pay to get back, though.
Yeah,
that
$1.
like, no, $5 to come over the big bridge.
Oh, is it $5?
yeah, it's like might be $6 by
That's
now.
a fine. That's a fine for leaving Pennsylvania in the first place.
Yeah, right.
Right. I thought we had to pay for all the smells that we get while we're down there.
That too.
Mhm.
But one of the events is we've got 3 events on the calendar, and right now they're all Jeep Enthusiasts of Eastern Pennsylvania events.
Well, one is more of an extreme terrain event.
That's true.
So
That's true.
let's start off with the first one, which is the JEEP Virtual Tech Day on Sunday, March 7th at 12:30 p.m. So that's in the afternoon,
Yep.
I think.
There will be no beach there.
Will be no beach.
No beach.
But this event is an awesome tech day that the Jeep enthusiasts of Eastern PA put together for their members, and it's a donation to the Western Montgomery Technical School.
Yep.
It benefits their mechanics program. And
Well,
helping...
let me elaborate on that. So there's a lot of things that we do outside the realm of just teaching students. So we one of the things we want to do is introduce students to the life, the culture. No better way to do that than there's some really cool field trips available for our students. One of them is taking them, just, as an example, we take them to the SEMA show in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
We go down for 4 days. Another one is we do a trip to Chicago. Our body shop does that with their students. Our students compete in a lot of competitions. We've had students ranked nationally twice in the past few years. But that all costs money, and rather than the students having to foot large bills, this helps to offset it, or in some cases totally pay for it.
Right.
Because these kids, a lot of these families, they got 2, 3, 4 brothers, sisters, and they're middle class families like we are.
Yeah.
It's expensive to send them to all this stuff. On
Absolutely.
top of maybe I have students that play in the band. They got students that play sports. So this helps to offset that cost.
Yep.
I am
That's
begging. I'm begging people to sign up for this. I want to keep this rolling. We made some good money the past couple of years, and I want to keep it going.
Well, last couple of years it's been in person, and obviously because of COVID,
which is awesome.
We snuck it in before COVID last year.
Yes,
and it was awesome. Scott did a presentation on Power Tank.
Yep,
it was fantastic. We appreciate that.
Where I decided to join the podcast.
Yeah, I think it was because we did a live
That's
a
right.
live show.
I was like, I want to be up there,
and it was just Don and I lonely over in a corner.
Yeah.
And that was the first time you guys saw power tanks in operation, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. That was the first
So-
time I met you in person, Scott. Oh man, how we've made friends since then.
Yeah, right.
And we ran the tire machine at the school.
Yeah.
With
off
it,
the
yeah.
power.
Yep. We had Tony D'Antonio
Yeah,
doing working with
it was Meredith.
Meredith, thank you.
Yep.
They ran a class on some add-ons.
New trends,
Yep.
new trends in the off-roading industry.
That's it.
We had students and Jeep Club members helping doing, trail maintenance, what we call trail maintenance stuff. Billy was playing with his air horn,
Right.
doing alignment stuff. Will Solo, the other instructor there, was doing alignment
That's
stuff.
right.
And
all
so
kinds
we
of
had
fun.
we had all kinds of stuff going on.
So we've got some great things lined up this year, and we're having
do.
to do it virtually.
Yep.
But that's not going to
It's going to be
delay
a
us.
fun, packed
Right.
day of information and lots of helpful tips and tricks. So.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about some of this stuff. I mean, so Eric Scott, you're gonna do.
Really? Come on.
One of the sisters.
So, yeah.
Oh
So-
man.
So you're gonna do some Factor 55 stuff and some Power Tank was, again, they're always great about helping out and getting stuff our way.
Yep.
And so we're gonna do some more Power Tank stuff.
And if you haven't seen a power tank or watched Scott's demo, man, it's literally jaw dropping.
Yeah,
Right, when
I'm Welsh, Irish, PA, German. I'm as stubborn as they come.
Yeah.
And I
We
had
know
no
that.
interest in this, like
None.
none.
Yeah.
And Scott showed it to me, and I was glued to it. We
Gotta
bought,
have one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just used.
I'm figuring out what I want. There's just too many options. I don't know
the
what
thing is,
I
it
want.
makes life so much
I can
easier.
help you with that.
Yeah.
I know. We already talked
And-
about it, but yeah.
Scott, not the influencer, but the bully.
Yeah, so that is going to be a great weekend. We're going to
and we have
We're still gonna do the trail maintenance.
we have a discount code for Power Tank as well,
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Jeep Life Pod 15.
right?
So it's
Gets you
15%
10%
off of a full system.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
is a great deal, and
Yeah.
you need to
Yeah.
do that power tank. But
Can't be combined with any other
so-
coupon.
all the garbage underneath it, yeah.
Right. So we do
So
have
much fun.
some other stuff scheduled for Tech Day.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some U joint stuff, Frank and I. We have your video.
Yep.
Correct. So you're going to do some new trends.
I got some friends that are gonna help me out in low places.
Yeah, nice. Ziegler RV is going to do some overlanding stuff, and we're going to have some trailers there that we're going to be able to take a look at.
Cool.
And some options for RVs, and he's going to be. We were originally going to make him do it out in the parking lot in the cold, but I just recently told him he could have a space.
He could pull it in.
Pull it in.
Yeah.
So all kinds of cool stuff going on. A little bit different this year than it has been last year. Guys, this all goes to help our students just have opportunities they're probably not going to have again in their lifetime.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So if you're looking to sign up for that, head over to the Jeep Enthusiasts of Eastern PA Facebook page group. They have events listed, and just follow the links to their website. It's an Eventbrite link. We'll also probably throw it up on the show notes too.
Yeah, perfect. We'll do that.
So the next event that we got going on is the Go Topless Day on Saturday, May 15th with Extreme Terrain. This is a nationwide event. So as we like to do in our Jeeps is take our tops off and not the ones on our bodies.
I'll do it right now.
So take the Jeep top off and have an awesome ride up to the Jeep Club's running an event out of the Lehigh Valley up to Mountain View Vineyard, Winery, Brewery, and Distillery.
In Stroudsburg.
That sounds like a lot of fun right there. And
like
we
three
have
of my favorite
Driving
things.
home, though.
Yeah. What? Driving home? Make
that's
sure
why we
you
all
have a
drive
designated
home.
driver for when
That's why we all have overland rigs. We
That's
can
right.
Just
camp
camp out
in the parking
lot.
spot. Yeah.
That'd be really cool if we're allowed to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll
we'll work on that.
Also, we have insider information that they are brewing a special beer just for
Yes.
the Jeep Enthusiasts of Eastern PA.
Yeah.
Lots of fun there.
That was actually planned to do last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, they're just kind of
COVID.
they're gonna pull the beer off the shelf and just kind of
That's
keep
exactly
serving
right.
it to us. No, it's fresh brew for this year, which is gonna be awesome.
Yep.
And then finally, the JEEP Spring Trail Ride at AOAA, which that event also always benefits some type of charity. I'm not sure what they are planning
Yeah, I don't
on
know this year.
benefiting this year. Obviously, an awesome trail ride up at AOAA for all skill levels from completely stock, first time out on the trails, all the way up to heavy, hardcore rock crawling, and all kinds of fun groups are going to be going out there. And last year we had, in our fall ride, we had 70 some odd Jeeps.
No.
Wow,
No,
that was a lot of
it was
Jeeps
more
there.
It was more than that. I had like 13 in my group.
Yeah, it was like 10 groups of 11 or more.
All right, maybe a lot
We
more.
only had what did we have in ours, Billy? 5.
5,
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, well, you guys were doing the
We were doing blacks.
yeah,
Which is a lot of fun. So if you want some experience on harder trails as well, this is a perfect opportunity to maybe take that extra leap.
Yep. And I know one
that
of
harder
our
level.
listeners, Neil,
Yeah.
he guides every year for us. Thank you, Neil.
Neil, BJ.
Yeah, and so
there's-
Neil's, I mean, he's the real deal. He
Yeah.
does Jeep Jamboree. He's a guide for various Jeep Jamborees.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
He is you'll never meet a nicer guy.
no,
period.
and I heard nothing but, I saw on Facebook, his group was like ecstatic.
Yeah.
With,
They always are,
with him.
too.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he's a pretty good
Unlike
teacher.
other guides we've had.
Yeah, and Ron
I didn't have time
Ron
to hang
usually
out and
takes
wait.
a
Listen,
group.
I didn't have time to wait for my group.
I wasn't talking about you.
Oh, I
I
thought
was
you were
talking
talking-
about talking about one
Wait,
of the sisters.
who lost someone last year? Who was that? Didn't somebody lose somebody?
We'll just remain nameless. I lost my whole group at one point.
Yeah, well, somebody lost somebody real early on.
But we had the one rig that was damaged and ended up in my
Right.
group.
Right.
Oh.
But no, it's a good time. It's a
There's
lot of
camping
fun.
usually involved. There's
Are we camping this year?
yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Making
I'll
my
camp,
reservation soon.
without
I'm taking the
question.
trailer.
Only
up.
90 days out we can book it. So
Yeah.
Well,
So-
you're 90 now.
Are we?
Yeah,
I can't count.
yeah,
I'm,
we are.
I'm booking it because I'm going to an electric site.
Which is a weird
He's
thing
on
for
there
an
booking
engineer to
one on.
say.
Yeah,
What?
that is a weird thing. Yeah.
No, I use a calculator for
A
everything.
sandwich engineer?
Yeah.
So we want to
7
talk about
pickles, not 8.
yeah, we want to talk about other groups events here. Make those announcements and talk about them so that others can join in or we can join their group. So if you have a Jeep club and you want us to talk about your events, send us an email, info@jeeplifepodcast.com, and we'll get that out to everybody. Because we want to support everybody's events, and
We do. I think we
and
need some
want
more
to go
variety.
to them. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that'd be awesome. Now I know a minute ago we talked about
Who's freaking out?
somebody's phone's freaking
It's
out.
mine.
We talked
God
about
damn it.
Nice.
Power Tank is one of our partners, and they've given a Jeep Life Pod 15 discount code on their complete systems. Just recently, ArmorLite just released theirs, and for our listeners, it is. Let me make sure I get this right. Jeep Life Podcast 10, and you get 10% off of a full system. I know I have a full system in my Jeep. We've had several listeners put in. You've got a full system in yours, man. Let me tell you.
I'm doing that in the spring for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think I'm going to do it in mine. I know I will.
Yeah, mud and snow. I mean, Scott, you and I went out, and there was literally mud and snow. We were in both environments, and it was able to clean up super easily. Just pull the drain plug, use some water and a little bit of soap, and it was awesome.
You know,
it was
if this
easy.
makes a difference for me, sometimes I know I got to be spending money with the company I like. And
Yeah.
ArmorLite, they are just down to earth, American company. You know, I dig them. I dig the company itself. I haven't dealt with them on the same level you have, but I mean, they're cool people. They're approachable.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And we've had them on a couple times on the show, and I'm not gonna lie to you, they're nice people, and they've got an amazing product.
They really do. Product is awesome. People are awesome.
Yeah, and it's
buy ArmorLite.
It's not cheap, but it's certainly not expensive. If you go look at flooring, or if you want to,
if you
want a line, go WeatherTech.
WeatherTech is it's not really the same because you're not lining everything, and it doesn't have all the same. You know, you don't have drain plugs. It's not built into the drain plugs.
Right.
If I want to pull drain plugs, I still got to pull my carpet, pull the WeatherTech out.
Yeah.
So WeatherTech with the rear mat, and I priced it out. It's half the cost, but you're not getting the same thing.
Right.
So really, the price point where they're at is not that bad when you think about it.
I think it's a good price point to be at. Yep.
Right. Not knocking. I mean, WeatherTech's good stuff, and you can see like comparably, WeatherTech's about half the price, and it's about half of what you get from ArmorLite. So it just makes sense, you know.
And I know Jason and Sean and a couple others were really into that
digital
camo.
That's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't own any camo in anything, but I don't know.
I think that'll look good in some Jeeps.
Yeah,
it's not for me. I like that flat black look.
I don't. I don't know. I think I've looked at flat black floors long enough, and I want a digicam or wood grain or something. I don't know.
Terry, like we were talking about before, when we were eating lunch today, Frederick was sending me pictures of him installing his in Georgia.
Oh, right.
And yeah, the same thing that Billy said. It was like he was having to muscle it into stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he also said it was about 73 degrees there and sunny and partly cloudy, and you know, I hate him. But,
I know, right?
But he said it was, it went in very easily. Like he didn't have any trouble. But he said, he thought that in the cold it might have been a little bit trickier.
Well, when we did Bill's, it was warm. It was 85 degrees. I mean, it was hot actually by the time we were done.
Gazillion percent humidity.
Right. The front wasn't bad, and had we known what we know now, taking out the trim and everything and moving that front center console, that was the thing that kind of made my life easier, even in the cold. So it is a good install, and I love it. But Jeep Life Podcast 10% will get you 10% off full system, and definitely use that and abuse it. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank them for providing that for our listeners. I love it. With that, my brother, who is a new Jeeper-ish, he's been in the Jeep life or off-road life before. He's a Toyota guy, and he bought a Jeep this year. and loves it, absolutely loves it. But he joined a Jeep club out of Memphis, and they're the Mid-South Jeeps, and they were doing something awesome. And he sent me information, and all of a sudden I started following them, and they got hit with a really bad winter storm recently. We're old hats with it. We get winter storms up here on a regular basis, but they got hit pretty hard, and they mobilized a contingent of drivers, and over 2,000 rides were given to healthcare workers to and from work. And every time I turn around, another news organization in the Memphis area was doing a video workup, a little featurette, if you will, of them. And I think I sent you guys one of them that was out, and it was I love that they do that for good. They, as of today, about 1,100 cases of water have been distributed as well through them.
Wow, that's great.
And over 2,000 rides.
That's great.
What better way to give back to your community? And
it's how we can. You know what I mean? It's where
right.
we're needed. It makes sense.
Yeah, and
I feel kind of guilty because there's been a couple times where I should have been out helping people, but no, I took my Jeep apart and left it apart.
Right. I mean, Bill, you go out and play in your Jeep, right? That's what you do with yours. I grabbed Lexi. We had the 28-inch snowstorm.
Yeah.
And literally I said, "Come on, Lex, we're going to go out," and we help people get out of ditches. We gave one kid, he had a lowered Acura. I mean, it was a sweet Acura, but it wasn't so
as cool as a Civic, was it?
It was. It was.
Give it a run for the money.
Yeah, man.
All
right.
It's like a Civic with earrings.
That is a great analogy.
Yeah.
I love it.
But he was buried in a ditch, and I was like, "We're not getting you out. So hop in. I'll give you a ride wherever you need to go."
Nice.
And so we took him.
I love doing that. I mean, we've Amy and I have helped people out in the past, and we've pulled people out and towed people out and given people rides places, and I always feel good. I feel like sometimes I feel a little selfish with this Jeep that I've spent money on, and there's people out there struggling, and so that always feels good to give back or do these events where we're raising money or whatever.
I mean,
I'm sharing it to the chat right now, but Terry is the official face of the Jeep Winter Hero.
I saw that. I thought that was, well, first of all, a great article, but I love that he's in there. It's that was really cool and well deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, every time there's even just snow, sleet, whatever in the forecast, I mean, Terry is the one that jumps ahead of it. And I know that Terry doesn't like, a whole lot of attention for the nice things he does or whatever, but every single time he's the guy that is the first one to step up and say, if you know somebody who needs a safe ride,
absolutely.
He's the guy to do it. So.
Absolutely.
I'm fortunate enough to have an awesome vehicle that does extremely well in the snow, and those tires. I have the Biff Goodrich KM3s, and not once have I gotten any kind of wiggle out of it. It's just true, and it's gone.
Yeah.
I
think as far as mud tires go, that probably is the best well-rounded tire on the market that you can buy.
And there's not once been, I wish I'd gotten another tire.
Right.
And,
now, I never had KM3s. I had KM2s, and I didn't regret it one bit. I like them.
Yeah, I think they're great for winter, and, being
able
to...
KM2s got noisy, though. They got real noisy after a year or two.
Well, when your first set was a set of Maxxis... they're big horns, then after that some super swampers.
After that you sound like a half track going down the road.
Yeah, you really do. So I don't know, mine weren't too bad, but anyway, the KMs are definitely a good choice.
Yeah, so I feel comfortable going out and helping people. And a couple years ago we had a real weird snow squall that happened.
Yeah,
like in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, and that really crippled a lot of people.
I ended up taking 12 people home from work. My coworkers couldn't even get out of the parking lot, so I just started making trips, taking people, come back, picking up more, taking people, come back, picking up more. And it was one of those things where if I don't, who is?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way I look at it. And I want more of us to be able to do that. And I think the Jeep community is a great community to do that. And Mid-South Jeeps just kind of blew my mind with what they were doing. So hats off to them. And man, I've already contacted them, and we are going to have a representative from Mid-South Jeeps on the show sometime soon. But hats off to you guys. Thank you, Mid-South Jeeps, for doing everything that you do for your community. It is not lost on your community. Let me tell you, the kudos coming from those healthcare workers. It's huge, and it feels good. I'm like you; it just feels good, right?
It does. I need that in my life. I mean, I don't know what it is,
Yeah,
internally, but I have to have that.
Well, we have to build up our emotional bank account, and
I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
And if we do more of that, then that fills up that account.
Yeah.
So that when the shit hits the fan, you're only taking smaller deposits, and you're left with stuff in the account.
That's really good.
Since you've done this, for the last few snowstorms this year, do you think maybe for the next winter storm we have, you could volunteer to deliver for FedEx? Because I've got a lot of packages.
Scott still wants to get his Jeep parts.
It's taken a really long time to get them down my driveway, and I think you could make it.
Yeah,
they're clearly having
still
trouble.
trying to get back up your driveway now.
Oh my God, I have so much stuff that I'm waiting on right now. It's ridiculous.
FedEx, UPS they're so good at what they do that when they don't do it.
Oh, not FedEx. FedEx is not good at what they do. UPS has been down my street every day for the past month.
I'm trying, my little brother. I'm trying. But no, so thanks for the Mid-South Jeeps, and stay tuned. We will have a representative from them on the air.
Awesome.
As long as they want to come on. I'm going to beg, borrow, steal. If I have to drive to Memphis and kidnap one of them and bring them back, we'll do that. I guess we've made Scott sit here for long enough.
Yeah.
The whole reason we brought him on here is you've got some toys on the table.
I do. Nothing to do, though, with what Scott's talking about. Yes and no.
Yes and no.
But so...
well, talk a little bit about what we had on the table. I didn't realize we were having stuff on the table, so it's not in the agenda.
No, I sent you a text today. It said yes.
Yes.
We have stuff to review. Yes.
Perfect. So here it is. This is all the yes stuff.
This is all the yes stuff.
What do we have?
So let me backtrack here, and I know we're running short in time, but when we went out with
we're doing a 2-hour episode.
Yeah,
absolutely,
right.
I'm in. So when we went
Did
out,
the lawyers clear that? Did lawyers clear that?
Our board of directors.
Board of directors. Sorry.
Well, you guys are contractually obligated to make up for missing an hour last week.
That's right.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's how it works now.
Here comes the filibuster. So with the September trail ride, I had a big group. Yeah. Like big was an understatement. I think there was like 300 Jeeps or something in my group.
At least.
But no, seriously. I had gotten a handheld CB, and I thought that will probably be good enough because I really didn't want to clutter the dash up. I wanted to be able to get out and use it for like spotting and stuff.
Right, sure.
But Brandon was my tail gunner, and I couldn't get Brandon at the back of the group with it.
Dude, with 13 people, you did have 13 people. And
we did have 13 people.
Even parked, 13 people takes up a lot of space.
Well, even parked, I couldn't get him.
Right, exactly.
You know, when you're in, especially because we did Trail 12, so you have all those, the hills and the valleys and all that blocking it.
Right,
There's just a lot of stuff to block it. So I was a little frustrated with it, and I talked to Scott, who knows probably everything you need to know or want to know, about CB stuff. Yeah. So what we have is, and this was all on his recommendation, Bearcat.
It's the Uniden.
The what?
Uniden.
It's a Uniden Bearcat. Yep, 980. And the reason one of the big reasons that I chose that was, well, on his recommendation, but you can get a wireless mic for it. It does have Bluetooth capability. So that allows me to expand on some things down the road. And I
want it red tooth though.
Well, so red tooth is
no, not a thing. Is that what your headset does?
So I went with that. He had been talking about the one he had. I was always a Cobra person, to be honest with you. Before that, I had a couple Cobra CBs, and I liked them. I never had any problems, but I do like the wireless capability of this. That was a big selling point. I did get, because I hate antennas on Jeeps, like with a passion.
Yeah.
I get it's a necessary evil and I need it. So, but what I did get was that's not here tonight, is a quick disconnect. So you can, it's through Quadratech. They actually manufacture it. It's their part. In fact, all this was ordered from Quadratech. But the quick disconnect allows me to take the antenna right off, and then
have it out
right.
there
Then I
the
don't
rest
have
of
to.
the time.
When I'm going wheeling, I'm going to throw that on, and I'm going to go wheeling. But when I'm just driving around, I'm going to take the antenna off. Fire stick. I wanted to put a 3-foot on. Scott said, "What are you, stupid? Put a 4-foot on it." So
I'll explain why. I'm not going to explain why you're stupid, but I'll explain why.
We can't fix stupid.
So we needed to get it above the roof line. So we went with a 4-foot stick. I got a rugged ridge, and this was on me. I went to CB up and overhead. I'm gonna try it. I haven't heard great things about doing that with a CB this big. They're really meant for the mini units, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I know there's a couple people online that said they've done it, weren't super happy.
But it works.
Does it fit on the footman's loop?
Yes,
Yeah.
But I heard that it bounces a lot, and
interesting.
so we'll see. I'm gonna give it a shot and try it, and if I don't like it, I'll relocate it.
We could always make a bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. So
what?
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
I got to weld up your flagpole anyway.
I was gonna say you
I haven't
welding.
It's not been broken out yet, so we're good.
Squirrel.
What? Sorry.
Squirrel.
Shiny things.
Shiny things.
All right, so
yeah, this is a complete package. Like if you wanted to put in CB, this is a complete package. I'm gonna do what we're talking about. What we're gonna talk about tonight too, but this was first. This needed to go in first.
All right, and I will put links to all this in the show notes.
Yep.
That's awesome.
We're gonna talk about big boy radios.
I have stepped away from CB. I carry one in the Jeep, but I've stepped away. And
so I was torn. I'm like, do I even get a CB anymore? But when we're doing trail rides with the Jeep Club,
some of them are going to have it, right?
CBs, yep.
And
I think in 10 years this will all go away. But
all right, Scott, take us to school.
All right, so the radio that Don got is probably one of the best CBs currently made, and it does have a wireless mic, which is great, and it runs on 900 megahertz frequencies, like a cordless phone, which Uniden made a ton of cordless phones. The nice thing about that is that you can talk from a football field away on that wireless mic, and it has a speaker in it. So you can be 100 yards away from your Jeep and still have conversations with people. We've used that a lot during hill climbs in Maine and things like that, where you need to be in communication with people, but you can't be in your vehicle watching them do what they're doing. So it uses a rechargeable battery and stuff. So that CB is great. There are still a ton of people that use CBs. You kind of have to go with what your friends are using, because you can't just buy a radio that does everything. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. But the one that Don got there is actually, I thought he had the 880, which is the one that I have. He actually has the 980, which adds single sideband. That's what the SSB stands for.
Which is better than Scott's. It's the only thing on my rig that's better than Scott's.
It's 10 better. Or 100 better.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. Now I have to buy that radio.
I'll sell it to you.
Because, I mean, that does everything that mine does. But if you have a single sideband radio, that thing is capable of, and I'm not positive on the notes, like I'm actually going to have to look that up, but I think it's got about 4 times the range of the radio that I have, because it uses single sideband to basically, it's like expanding the amount of bandwidth it uses. That's a really dumbed down way to say it, but it's able to like transmit on 2 frequencies simultaneously or something like that. But it's capable of a lot longer range and a lot clearer transmissions, but only with another SSB equipped radio, which I do not have.
So now you have to get one. I agree.
Now I have to get it. Right.
I agree.
So CB is not dead, but it is getting to the point where there are less and less people investing in the technology. It is capable to have a CB radio that goes several miles. That's a great unit right there, but I think it's all of the CB radios are limited to 4 watts, which is not a lot of power. The nicest thing about CB radios is they are totally free to operate. Once you buy the equipment, you are totally set up, ready to go. Anybody is open to use the airwaves, and it's just something that doesn't require any upkeep. I mean, you need to make sure that your radio is clean and grounded. Your antenna is working as it should, and you got to measure that every once in a while. They are tunable, but you don't have to pay a fee for licensing. A lot of people are now moving over to UHF radios, like FRS or GMRS, and that's really what we were going to talk about as part of the show. I have an 880 Bearcat in my Jeep. It's going to stay in the Jeep. There's not going to be any reason to remove it. Most of the time, I use that quick release and take the antenna off, and I throw the antenna behind my back seat. The reason I told you to go with a 4-foot is so that it can get over the roof of the Jeep and actually get out there and reach people. The antenna that's included in the kit that you got from Quadratech, most of the antenna load is above the roof line, so it's able to communicate with people in front of you as well as behind you. That's like, if you look at that, Billy, like if you look at the winding in that thing, it's more of the winding is up towards the top of it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why, like, it's actually the frequency of the winds in there are tuned to a certain frequency. CB radios are high frequency radios, which sounds awesome. I mean, high frequency, that sounds like something that you want. But then there's ultra high frequency, UHF, and that's way at the other end of the spectrum. And then in the middle is VHF. GMRS radios are UHF radios, and FRS is a lower wattage version of the same thing. Wattage is the actual transmission power. So without getting into a ton of detail, FRS radios are free to use. That's mostly like the blister pack Uniden Talkabout, or like Motorola Talkabouts or Uniden radios that come in like the plastic packaging. You can get a pair of them and you can communicate with people over a mile or two. They're actually, even though they're only a half a watt power, you can get longer transmission ranges than you can with CB with a lot of those handheld guys, which is great. But
I've used them a lot out on the trail.
Yeah.
Like they're just quick, easy. I usually stick it like right my collar or something like that.
Yeah.
So do you need a license for FRS because it's
For
lower
FRS,
wattage? You don't.
You don't. There are 14 channels of FRS. You are wattage limited to very low wattage. Most of them are half a watt, which isn't a lot of transmission power, but they're designed for short range communication. And the reason there are wattage limitations is there's a certain amount of frequencies that are set aside for the use of these frequencies. If we all had 500 watt radios, there'd be way too many people trying to talk.
You're talking to people in like China.
It's like
Right,
this
there'd
goddamn
be
podcast.
So the whole thing about having CBs is it's great. You can have, there's only 40 channels of CB stations, but you can take the entire park, and even with those 40 channels, if somebody's not on that channel, you can switch to another one, and you can talk to those people. FRS is a lot lower power than GMRS. GMRS has actually got a peak wattage restriction of 50 watts in the upper limit. So there's 7 channels that actually you're allowed to use 50 watts on. But there is a licensing requirement that a lot of people are struggling with right now.
So when you say short distance for FRS, give me a, mile?
Within 5 miles line of sight,
okay.
typically.
Okay.
And I think, some of them are limited to 0.5 watts. Some of them are limited to 2 watts, but the basic thing that FRS radios all have in common is they're not allowed to have a detachable antenna. This radio, which a lot of people are using as a Baofeng, this has an antenna that can be removed, and you can get, this is a higher gain antenna, that has been added to this radio, which allows it to receive better and transmit better. But this radio is not technically legal for FRS. It's also technically not legal for GMRS as well. But there's a lot of different FCC requirements in terms of those things. These are actually a ham radio that is able to transmit on frequencies that ham radios are typically not allowed to. So there's a lot of regulation that's probably going to end up happening to these radios in the very near future. They may be illegal for sale. It's going to be hard to ban them for use. So probably not. If you already have one, it's not a real big deal. It's not a great solution for a long-term radio situation. They're great in emergencies and stuff. When I first started becoming interested in ham radio versus GMRS versus FRS versus CB, it was $70 for a 5-year license for GMRS. That was anything prior to 2017. That's what it cost, which I don't think is excessive, really. I mean, that's, what, $14 a year to have access to a lot higher wattage radios. That seems reasonable to me. It's not, it's something that you have to register for, but to stay on the right side of the law, that's what it costs. In 2017, they increased the range of that license to 10 years. So now you're getting a license for $7 per year for a full 10 years.
So there's been a lot of talk too. I've seen a lot of banner on Facebook about, how ridiculous it is to get that license because nobody's going to catch us, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But there's, and I don't know who, Scott may have been you that put it out there. Somebody had a good point that, if we're all going to KOH, King of Hammers, or we're going to Maine Jeep Jamboree or whatever, and we're all talking about our GMRS radios that we're using there, and they can nail a couple hundred people, they're going to be there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the biggest deal about that is that now Midland is the official communication sponsor of Jeep Jamboree USA. Up until last year, it was a requirement that everybody who was attending a Jeep Jamboree have a functional CB radio. There's very minimal requirements, but you have to have like front and rear recovery points, and you have to have a transfer case capable of going into 4 low and a CB. That's the basic requirements to go to a Jamboree. Now they've removed that requirement and they're moving everybody over to GMRS. The problem with that is they're not requiring people to be licensed. This year, at some point, probably in the next couple of months, like I was saying with the licensing fees, they dropped them in 2017. I signed up for a license after that, so I got a decade-long license for $70 that covers me, my brother, my uncles, my grandfather. It's like basically your entire nuclear family is covered by that license. So you'd be an idiot not to get the license. But now they've also dropped the fee to $35 for 10 years. So it's 25% of what it cost in 2017.
Right.
So yes, people are saying, "Oh, there's no way they're going to catch me." But now that Midland is a sponsor of Jeep Jamboree USA, we're looking like a very attractive target for enforcement.
Right.
And there are an awful lot of people on Jeep forums and other places that are saying, "You're never going to catch me in the woods. Why would I sign up for that license?" Well, when hundreds of you are saying that, and there's an event where everyone's going to be and they know that there's a good chance no one has a license, that's when they're going to show up to enforce it. And it's just they're starting to enforce it more actively now than they have been recently. And now that they've dropped the license fees so substantially, if they want to generate revenue, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So why choose FRS versus GMRS, or is there a way, do some radios have both built in?
There are. Any GMRS radio is capable of transmitting at a lower wattage on FRS frequencies. The higher wattage radios are going to go farther. So like you can get a GMRS radio that you can get 10 miles out of easy, even in the woods. I mean, we've talked to, every time we're in the park, I'm actually monitoring other people's GMRS transmissions, and we can be on the Eastern Reserve and we hear people crystal clear on the Western Reserve. You can't do that with CB. It's nice to have the option to do both, but it's the added cost is a burden for some people. I don't get it. If it's $3.50 a year to stay on the right side of the law, it makes sense to sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you're really going to get a much greater range. I mean, the cheapest FRS radios are like a half watt, and if you're looking at the ones that are the higher, the 7 highest frequencies in GMRS, 50 watts, and that's a huge boost in power. And the addition in those bands of repeaters that are all over the country. I mean, there's actually mygmrs.com, I think, is where you can look at all the repeaters that could potentially be in your area. That will take the transmission that you have in your lower wattage radio and boost that transmission so that people even farther away can hear it. It's just allowing it to get a lot farther out, which is a huge deal. I think there's actually one in the Shamokin area as well. I haven't programmed my radio to reach that because you have to have like an offset tone to be able to use it. But it's something that we should really look into, because that can be even easier to communicate with people that are on different sides of the same mountain even.
No.
Right. So what's the distance on a GMRS radio? We talked about FRS. You said about 5 miles line of sight. What's a GMRS get you?
40 or 50.
Wow.
I mean, it all depends on obstructions, atmospheric conditions, a whole lot of other things.
Sure.
And the nice thing, there is a license requirement, but there's no test involved.
Right.
I have a GMRS license. I also have a ham radio license, which is like a technician level license. That costs $15. The cost of that is actually going to go up a little bit. But there is a test involved. That's a test that you actually have to spend a fair amount of time actually learning things about the way radio frequencies work, wattage restrictions, frequency restrictions, how frequencies affect things and atmospheric conditions. There's a lot of stuff involved in that.
And also, isn't there like a code, like how you actually are supposed to like announce yourself? And
yes,
yeah,
yes.
So there's a lot of things that are regulated that to make sure.
Much more right. Ham radio is a much more formal system.
Right.
GMRS, you can, after you have that license that you pay nothing for. I'm sorry, not that you pay nothing for, that you don't have to take a test for.
Right.
After you have a GMRS license, you can just turn your radio on and talk to whoever, and not have to worry about announcing your call sign every 20 minutes or things like that you have to do with ham radio. So it's a much more accessible thing. I mean, even if you look back into the 1970s, there actually was a requirement for people who were operating CB radios to get licensed. The only thing is they didn't enforce it. And so many people had so many people had radios that nobody paid for the fee, nobody registered their stuff, and they just kind of dropped the fee in like the early 80s. And there really hasn't been much activity in CBs after that. You don't see, like that radio that you have down there, the Bearcat, is actually capable of scanning all the bands. So I'll turn my radio on and scan a lot. And there are a lot of, like loading bays around here, like in warehouses and stuff, that'll have a sign as you go in saying, tune your CB to channel 13, and they'll give you instructions on which bay to go to. So it's kind of assumed that all truckers have them. And I think most of the time they do, but I don't think they turn them on as much. No. But you can, like if you're on 22 or 78 and there's a traffic jam, you can turn your radio on to channel 19 and you can find out what's going on.
Right, right.
Like they'll turn them on, but I think most of them are listening to radio or podcast or whatever, and they only turn. It's not their primary source of entertainment.
Right.
Just talking all constantly on CB like we used to see in the movies.
Yeah, the 70s and 80s were definitely the heyday for
Big River Ducky coming down the
CB
road.
Driver. Culture.
Yeah, and we had the 5-foot whip on the back of the station wagon on long trips. And my dad would talk to truckers all the time, and that's what you did back then.
And so I had a Cobra in my motorhome, and we used it extensively on the highway, and it did come in handy. Like if we were looking for an exit, or we were looking for an easy place to fuel up, because the motorhome was 11 foot tall, and we would jump on the CB, and there was always somebody there to give you a good idea. Sometimes the kids would hear things they probably shouldn't, but there was definitely there was no filter system like there is. But yeah, I mean, I think I think it'll always have, to some extent, some sort of purpose. It's just, I don't think it's going to have near as important a purpose, in 10 years as it did, 20
No,
years ago.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest thing is that there's like kind of a skill level involved keeping the radio working properly. There are people that, they'll grab whatever radio they can get. They'll get a radio, or they'll get an antenna that has like a zero ground plane, and they'll mount it to their roof, or to their tail light on like a powder coated bracket, and the
Right.
thing is good for like 200 yards.
Right.
And people get frustrated with CBs, but if you have a stainless steel mount that's well grounded, and a Fire Stick 18-foot antenna, which is pretty much ideal, and a good radio, then you're going to be able to reach out and talk to people, hundreds of yards away, if not a few miles, depending on what the conditions are. I mean, if there's a lot of trees and rocks, it's going to be less. But like, for what we do, a CB actually works really well if the CB is working well.
Right.
If it's not, I mean, my brother had one in his XJ that really, it was like, if you couldn't see his Jeep, you couldn't talk to him.
Yeah.
And we finally figured out it was because his antenna cable was wrong. Even after we upgraded him to a much, much newer radio, he still couldn't get out there. So we put it on an SWR meter, which is like a good tool for tuning antennas. It tells you what the standing wave ratio of the antenna system is, so you know if you're in the range that you want to be for the frequency you're trying to communicate.
Well, those XJs are huge Faraday cages.
No, that was for GMRS.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't matter. They're just
they're
just
terrible.
metal all the way around.
Right.
I'm so glad that you got rid of that Jeep, honestly.
Tell me about it. So am I.
Yeah. Man, Scott,
I can't
thanks
wait
for...
to tow the buggy out of the woods, though.
What?
I think it'll be towing us
said
out.
I can't wait to tow the buggy out of the woods.
No, we won't have to. I'll have to probably bring the trailer to it.
You just jinxed yourself so bad.
Scott, man, I appreciate you bringing your expertise once
No
again to the show, and man, I'm excited about this radio, and I think the most exciting thing about your new radio is you can change the colors of the display.
Yeah. Well, so for a guy like me, believe it or not, that was another. I have OCD with things.
Yeah.
If I had a green display and it was yellow on the dash
Yeah.
or white on the dash,
Drive you nuts.
it would drive me insane.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. I didn't notice it until
It's got an SWR meter in it too. I like that because
It does, and that is so helpful for telling if you're having an antenna problem.
Yep. And so my last one did not, and I'd have to hook up the SWR meter to it all the time, and I'm looking forward to not having to do that.
And
So
you're mounting that up high, right?
Yep.
So your backlighting color might not matter as much. I have mine mounted on the console,
Right.
on the passenger side, and really, like during the day, green is the most visible.
Is it? Yeah, I figured the white was probably.
At night it's almost too bright, so I switch it down to blue for night mode. But I don't use it much at night, so it mostly stays on green all the time.
Right.
But up high, you're not going to have that issue because you don't have direct sunlight hitting it.
Right.
yeah, that'll help. Man.
So I think there's going to be possibly maybe a video or two coming. So I have a GMRS radio in the buggy.
Yep.
You have GMRS radio.
Yep.
Scott has GMRS. Maybe we can get some comparison video out to our listeners about that. So
Yeah.
I think maybe we can get together and do something like that.
Just a real quick product recommendation. If you do not have a radio currently and you're looking for a hard-mounted radio for your Jeep, Midland probably makes the best setups right now for GMRS.
All right.
Quadratech doesn't sell them. There are discount codes available through overlanding groups and some other stuff. But if you're looking for like a comes in one package radio that's easy to hook up, that's GMRS and is a hard mounted radio, not a handheld. I know Neil has a handheld Midland and I think he likes it a lot. But I like having a radio actually in the Jeep for that kind of thing.
What's your opinion on rugged radios?
I hate them and would avoid them at all costs.
Oh, okay.
You might want to delete that out of the actual recorded podcast. But rugged radios, especially their handheld units, are the same as that Baofeng that Terry has.
Crazy
that they paint them blue and charge 3 times as much.
Okay, I have the hard mounted ABM 25, which is like all in one hard mounted into the.
It's probably a Yaesu or some other company that they program it out of the gate for you instead of it. But they're usually ham radios. They're not always 100% GMRS compliant. They ran into some trouble. They actually ran afoul of the FCC about probably 5-6 months ago at this point, because they had a whole bunch of pre-programmed radio stations that they had in their radios that were their UV5R Baofeng clones, that they said, oh, you can use these. It's totally legal for you to use these. And they're not. They're geographic, like specific. You can't be issued a license just because you bought a radio from a certain manufacturer.
Gotcha.
They were touting it as something that if you buy this radio from us, you get to use these frequencies, and that's not the case.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Cool.
what's if what would be your recommendation? So my next investment is going to be a Gmrs. So I'm going to taking the rearview mirror off. There's going to be no. Well, I'm not. I'm actually going to run a camera on the radio, on a split screen on the radio, and then I'm putting the Gmrs right below the. I want to put it right below that. So that being the case, what's my best bet? What do I like? I looked at Baofeng has they have really good radios online. I mean, is that the way I want to go?
Well, so they are technically ham radios. They do ham radio frequencies. They do a lot of marine frequencies, FRS, GMRS, emergency frequencies, ambulance, fire, all sorts of stuff. They are a super, super wide band radio. It is not legal to use them on all of those frequencies.
Okay.
In fact, a lot of them, if you you can listen to any of those frequencies using that all you want. The only problem is when you go to actually transmit on those frequencies,
Right.
that's when you're actually breaking the law. Right. The problem with that particular brand of Chinese radios is that they have a lot of spurious emissions. Like you'll be transmitting and also transmitting on other bands that you don't intend to. So there's a lot of interference and things like that. Just not. We can look into a good solution for you. There are other solutions that would work for that. But if you just want a radio to just do GMRS, Midland makes some of the most reliable and easy to use pieces of equipment out there.
Okay.
I hope Quadratech ends up like actually carrying that brand.
Right.
Right now, the only one they have is a Daystar, which I think is kind of on the pricey side, but it does mount. It comes with a switch panel and mounts above your mirror.
Yeah, I saw that was pretty good. You get a couple extra switches with it. It's pretty decent looking.
Well, if you look at the one that includes the handheld, like there's two different part numbers. One of them includes a handheld as well. And if you zoom in on the picture of the handheld, it's the same radio. It's the same one that Terry has.
Right.
With a different brand on it.
Right. So again, this is like a CB. Terry's like, shut up, Don.
Terry already tried to end the podcast.
Yeah, I know. So
Has it been 2 hours yet? You guys, I mean, we're still like.
No, I think we got 30 minutes yet.
Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah.
So if you know, is it the same as a CB? You're getting an antenna, you're getting a coax, you're getting cable.
You're getting a cable.
So
and the antennas are much shorter. You don't have to have a 48-inch antenna.
Okay.
They even have ones that are like almost like the hood bumper on your Jeep right now.
Yeah.
They make ones that are about 3 times the height of that and about the same diameter that will be good enough to talk for miles and miles. Whereas if that same height was used to make a CB antenna, it would not work.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't even transmit like 5
antenna
5
on
feet.
mine's only like 2.5 feet tall.
Right.
Yeah. And that's probably good for a couple of miles if it's tuned right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which this gentleman that purchased that I purchased Buggy off of used it out west all over the place. I think I just need to figure out how to use it.
Yeah.
How to what channels.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest learning curve because they've got, I believe, and I've done a little bit of homework on them. I'm not real comfortable.
There he goes with the homework again.
Yep.
Yeah, right. But I mean, you've got to program channels in it.
Right.
Is my
And
understanding.
that's what I need to do.
You probably are programmed on a set of different channels
that he and his couple of friends use.
Right. So like as a club, you know, like JEP club's going to say, "Hey, we're going to all function on this channel."
Right.
And then JLP may have, you know, the same channel or a different. I don't know if you can run multiple. I think you can run 2 channels on them, right? Legally, Scott?
Well, so if you're gonna say like we're gonna use this channel, you can buy the license to use that for specific like geographical location from the
That's
FCC.
right. Yes. Yeah.
But like But that's the thing. Like if you say we want to use, that's the trouble that a lot of people are running into. They go, oh, well, we're just going to use 147.642, and that's the channel that we're going to use. Well, but that might be in the Marine band,
Right.
and
right.
like sure, the FCC isn't like coming down on people right now for that, but there are people that up in the mountains, they're like, well, we're just going to use Marine band stuff because there's nobody in a boat in the mountains.
Yeah. Right.
You know, why can't
right.
we use this? It's regulated for a reason, because that's like if everybody was talking on that band all the time,
right.
some tall ship might be trying to tell a drawbridge to open for them, and then they hit the bridge. You know, it's like
right.
It's there's a lot of things to
sure.
There are reasons these rules exist, but you can a lot of the radios that are programmable, like probably the one that's in the buggy. I have the software to do that. We might need a specific cable to tune it, but if it is capable of using GMRS frequencies, we can actually set the wattage restrictions. We can set the frequencies. We can even set it to be able to communicate with any of the repeaters if they are in the area.
Yeah.
But that's, if it's a programmable radio, it's a programmable radio. You can change the stuff about it. You can tell it you don't want to be able to operate on AM bands that you're not licensed on. Or if you want to listen to your local police band, you can program that in. Just don't key up the mic. That's all.
Right.
There's a lot of different. There's radio. You could sit and, Don, this is a rabbit hole that you do not want to go on, because it'll be the next 5 years of your life. If you want to learn about what radio frequencies you're allowed to be on and what kind of radio you need to do that, you could read about it. I mean, I've probably been researching this for 5 or 6 years, and I think I've only scratched the surface. There's all digital modes and ham radio. There's all this stuff like.
There is a ton of, like, I got into it briefly, and then I had like it was my ADD kicked in and I switched gears, but there is a lot that goes on with these.
Real quick synopsis, and you can edit out all the nonsense before this. If you want a completely free, reasonably priced radio to talk to your buds, and they all use CB, get a CB radio. Get a Unit N510XL or a Bearcat 880 or a Bearcat 980. Get one of those radios, or even the Cobra one that has the 75 that has the box that mounts under the seat. So get that. Get the right antenna cable for it, get a good antenna for it, and have somebody measure it with an SWR meter. Or if your radio has an SWR, awesome. If you don't want to worry about license fees, that's the move. If you want to transmit, for miles and miles, get an FRS. Like, if you can communicate on those with a small trail group, that's great. If you want to use it and go out to Moab and be able to communicate with other people in case of an emergency, and you need to go 10 or 15 miles or longer, GMRS is your move.
I like that. It's good explanation.
If you want to go even farther than that, and you don't mind doing a little bit of learning, get a ham radio.
Okay.
And that's the kind of thing where it's
I'm
like.
I'm not talking about Boar's Head.
No, definitely not Tavern Ham. Tavern Ham won't work. But there is some stuff that you have to learn. But there are audiobooks that will actually teach you all the aspects of the test. The one that I listened to, it was on Audible. I think it cost like $5, and I listened to it at 1 1/4 speed while I was driving. And then when I would get to where I was going, I would take a real quick test on an app that would give me all the questions that were going to be on the test, and I could do the different sections. And if I did an entire, test for the app, and didn't, pass one of the sections a couple of times, I would know I needed to go back to that chapter of the audiobook and learn more. I only spent 5 weeks studying for that test using that audiobook and those practice tests. I got 100% on it. I think you're allowed to get 70 and pass. It's not really an incredibly complicated test, and it is information that is useful to anybody that's interested in radios, just the things that you have to learn for the technician exam. You will learn more about radios than you will ever use, for sure, just to get that one test. It's unless you really, you want to do it as a hobby. I've got a really good friend that lives locally that knows a lot more about it than I do, because that's like his primary source of entertainment, is reading about that.
Oh, wow.
I got a lot of stuff going on. I don't have time to read a ton about that, but he tells me all the things I need to know, so it works out great.
Excellent. Well, Scott, I am going to.
Hey, Scott, one more question.
I am going to throw the end to that, man. I'm swimming over here.
I got like 15 more questions, but I'll call you later.
Yeah,
Just
send him a text message.
Just go to our link.
I started writing an article on this, and it got up to 3,000 words so quickly I had to split it off.
That's funny.
I love it. So this is normally the time where I say, Bill.
Go to our link
Yeah.
tree.
Look at this.
go link tree.
As we discovered last week,
/ Jeep Life Podcast, you'll find everything you need to know.
Scott was having trouble finding that. I don't know. Linktree.com / Jeep Life Podcast.
It's not
Done.
actual like link tree dot. It's like linkt.ree.
Oh
yeah,
my
well,
God.
you tell people that.
Just
What
go
was the
to
verb?
our-
What was that?
go to Instagram, go to Facebook, click on the link in the bio, because that's the easiest way to do it. I've got it bookmarked, but also it has.
Just kidding. You guys are all fired. Eric and I will be back next week.
But go to visit YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think we've increased our number. We've got a contest at 500. We're giving away some stuff.
All right, ready? HTTP
Forget all that.
semicolon
Yeah, forget all
backslash blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, give me the whole nail the address.
It's Linktree, linktr.ee/ Jeep Life Podcast.
All right.
There's no
no dot.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, go there.
Go to our Facebook, go to our Instagram. It's plastered everywhere now. It's on our website, which is jeeplifepodcast.com.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
And thanks for listening, Eric and Scott. Thanks for covering us last week while we had a weekend off. That was pretty awesome. All of our listeners have tuned in tonight. It's been pretty awesome. Mid-South Jeeps.
Listen, Terry, and I swear to God, I won't interrupt you again. I signed up. It was so easy. While I was talking to you guys, I actually signed up for Patreon. And honestly, it's so quick. It only takes a few minutes to do it. You can sign up for the 3 different levels. But it really is something that if you like this content and you want to learn more about the Jeep life and you want to learn more about technical aspects of it where I talk too much, give them money because it costs money to do what they're doing.
Well, Scott, I appreciate you for that, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. But anyway, for Scott, Bill, Don, and myself, here's a big Jeep wave to you, everybody. Have a good night.
I'm falling asleep over here on the mic.
That was definitely one of our longer ones. Thanks for everybody for hanging in with us. It was awesome. I thought it was good material. Scott, man, I feel like I walk away knowing more.
Yeah,
every time.
I some of that was really simplified for me, and I like that. The progression of
That's like I said, that's a deep ass rabbit hole. You really can there's so many things that you can do that just seem like they'd be the simplest thing in the world, and then they're illegal. So
I think that was good. I think that helped a lot of people to understand. I mean, the different progressions, CB, FRS, GMRS, ham, just little things like that is
it's a big deal. Hey, so I know that in the beginning we had a question from Victor, and I'm going to pull that question out of the comments section, and I want see if we can address it for him and answer that. But I know we didn't get a chance to get to him, and I apologize to Victor for that. But I'll pull it out, and we'll see if we can't get it answered.
When doing weld in rockers for an XJ 2x6, do you cut the outside of the pinch weld or the inside of it? Looking for ideas when I do them in 2 weeks. Thanks.
Don't you just throw it away and buy a new one?
Yeah.
Can we get some? I'm struggling to put this together.
Yeah,
what he's
so that's
asking. Let's get some pictures and some more information. And I don't know that I have the expertise to answer this 110% accurately, but I do know somebody that I can reach out to that can help me out with this.
Well, the real question is,
Ricky Cease would know that too.
Yeah, I can talk to him. The real question is he replacing the rocker panel, or is he putting in like a
A patch
The
panel.
reinforcement, or
like a rock rail, or is
Oh,
he
like
building
a-
a rock rail? Like that's
Yeah.
it's kind of confusing of what he's trying to do
Yeah.
here, because 2x6, like if he's putting a 2x6 piece of,
So he's patching. It sounds like he's patching is what he's
Patching,
doing.
yeah. then it depends on the rust spot, how it is,
So the question was, is he cutting behind or in front, taking the pinch weld with it?
right. That's the
I
real
wouldn't take the
I
pinch
wouldn't
weld.
take it either.
No. If you
I
don't
would-
have to, but if it's got you know what I mean? If it's got any bit of
Yeah. It depends on the panel that he's replacing, where it is, that kind of.
Victor, send us some more info on that.
Yeah, maybe we can reach out to him and
Yeah.
we can
Perfect.
answer it next
I don't know
time.
if there's anybody on anymore.
all right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. And
Well, we're not done. We still got hold on.
Don, we're done.
5 minutes, man.
I have to get my beauty rest. This
I
doesn't
gotta go
come just
work on a
naturally.
Jeep.
Yeah.
This
I'm
just
out.
doesn't come naturally. I have to work at it.
I missed it. I didn't get to do it last week.
You gotta get one of these.
Oh yeah, his chair.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I saw his new seats. Those look nice.
Did you sit in it?
No, I'm not climbing in somebody else's Jeep.
I did.
I think I just
That's
sold
just
a.
gross.
I did it several times while he wasn't looking.
I sold a buddy of mine those same seats.
I sat in him when he wasn't looking before they were in the Jeep.
All right, good night, everybody.